What's going on, Jets fans? Welcome into the Jets Report by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we'll be diving into all 8 interviews the Jets have had so far for their open defensive coordinator job, and there's looking like one favorite that the Jets have already interviewed to land that position. So we'll dive into all 8 coming up here in just a second, but I do want to say thank you guys so much for all the people who have hit that subscribe button over the last couple of weeks, and we're closing in here on 12,000 subs here on YouTube. We just need 149 more of you guys to go down there, smash that subscribe button today. If we get any updates on the DC job for the New York Jets, we'll be your go-to spot. So hit that subscribe button today, and we just need 149 more of you guys to do so, and we can hit 12,000 subs here on the channel. All right, so the first thing we're going to be talking about here is a sleeper option, in my opinion, for the New York Jets. And that's actually Vikings defensive backs coach Daronte Jones. Now, Daronte Jones, he's getting a bunch of interviews. He's getting an interview with the Green Bay Packers after they lost Jeff Hafley. The Giants want him, and the Cowboys could potentially want him as well. So the guy that's been working under Flores over the last couple of seasons, he's getting a lot of buzz. Now, he did start off with the Miami Dolphins as the assistant defensive back coach back in 2016. Got a promotion from the Cincinnati Bengals, just became their cornersback coach, and then he's been with the Vikings since 2020 as their defensive back coach, and then he also got the promotion in 2023 to be their defensive pass game coordinator. And the Vikings pass defense since 2023 and Daronte took over, they've been absolutely fantastic. Here's their DVOA rankings in the NFL. Back in 2023, they were 10th. Back in 2024, when the Vikings won 14 games, they were first in the National Football League. And even this past season, the Vikings offense was flat out horrible, but that pass defense and that defense carried them to a 9-8 record, and Daronte Jones had a big part of that, and that's why they rank third in the entire NFL in terms of pass defense DVOA. So he is a very smart, an up-and-coming guy where I think he wants his chance to call plays with obviously Flores calling the shots in Minnesota over the last couple of seasons. So he's an under-the-radar name to keep your eyes out on. Now, a guy that all Jets fans want to bring into this organization for this upcoming season, it's got to be Jim Leonhard. Jim Leonhard, he's obviously got a lengthy history of being an elite defensive mind here, even at the college football level and then recently in the NFL. But he was the Wisconsin defensive coordinator for 5 seasons, 2017 to 2022. Then he was an interim head coach back in 2022. Then he went to Illinois as a senior analyst back in 2023. And he was the Broncos pass game coordinator 2024 to now. And then he also got the promotion of being their assistant head coach this past season. So he's got a huge say in what the Broncos do every single week. A big chunk of his week is just coming up with that defensive game plan. He's been doing a great job. And the Broncos, the reason they're in the AFC Championship game is because of that defense and because of that coaching staff. And Jim Leonhard's got a huge say. But a guy that's looking like the favorite here to land this job is a guy I got mixed feelings about, but he would be an interesting hire. And that's Wink Martindale, Don Martindale, currently the defensive coordinator this past season for the University of Michigan. Now, this guy's ultra aggressive. You know, he loves to bring the house whenever he can, and he does generate takeaways at a high level. And with the Jets having the season they had this past year where they couldn't generate any takeaways, Wink Martindale would completely fix that issue. But Zach Rosenblatt had this to say on Wink Martindale, saying still, it did get out that veteran defensive coordinator Wink Martindale, formerly the University of Michigan, the Giants and the Ravens, was a leading contender for the job. According to multiple league sources, Glenn actually spoke with Martindale before the end of the season, and there's a feeling that he is the early frontrunner for the job. It's unclear if Glenn spoke to any other candidates before the season ended until or unless Martindale is actually offered the job. Nothing is certain, and Glenn wouldn't have also interviewed 7 other candidates if Martindale was already offered the gig, which is a good point by Zach. But I will say, Wink would be a very solid hire. Like, I think he would raise the floor of this defense to a level where the Jets wouldn't have the worst defense in National Football League history, which they had this past season. And if you just want to change that side of the football, you spend a bunch of draft capital on that side, which also Wink would give the Jets an advantage since him being in college football this past season, he knows all of these guys. He understands these prospects probably better than other guys that the Jets could bring in. So I think he would be a solid hire. If I had to pick one, and my best guess, I think it would be Wink. Good relationship with Aaron Glenn, a very aggressive DC, and I think Wink would really fix up a lot of these issues, especially from the takeaway department for this Jets defense. But you guys let me know, who's your dream DC hire for the New York Jets? I'm assuming a lot of you guys will say Jim Leonhard here, but for me, I would probably go, Jim Leonhard would still probably be number one. But then I'd probably go Wink Martindale, and then a guy like Daronte Jones. If you want to really take a risk, I think Daronte would be a solid option. But if you guys could, let me know your thoughts down below. Who is your dream DC hire for the New York Jets? All right, another guy out of the NFC North that the Jets are going to be requesting the interview, a guy who's got a great relationship, obviously, with Aaron Glenn, and that's Jim O'Neill, the defensive assistant and the safeties coach for the Detroit Lions. Now, the Detroit Lions defense has been really solid over the last couple of years, and he's had a big say in that because you look at these safeties that they've had, like Kirby Joseph playing great, Brian Branch, like these other guys, who have really excelled and taken their game to a next level. And he's also developed a lot of these guys. So I wonder if that relationship with Aaron Glenn plays a big factor. But Jim O'Neill wouldn't be too high on him being the next hire by Aaron Glenn. I would rather have them go either of these three names listed above him. But now another guy within the division, Matthew Arroyo, cornerbacks coach for the Miami Dolphins. Now, he has done a very good job in Miami, even though their defense has been, fantastic over the last couple of years. But he has done a very good job developing some pretty damn good DBs for the Miami Dolphins. I think his greatest success story is a guy like Kader Kohou turned him into one of the better slot, outside corners in the NFL, where, he started off as Yale from 2019 to 2021 as their DB's coach, got the promotion with the Dolphins as their assistant DB coach, and this past year took over fully in that position. So he's another guy to look out for. Now, if you want to keep, pipeline going of like a Jim Schwartz type of guy, Ephraim Bandam, this is a good guy, or Banda, the safeties coach for the Cleveland Browns currently. And this Cleveland Browns defense has been very solid over the last couple of years, and this guy's been bouncing all over. He started off at Mississippi State as their defensive quality control coach. Then he was a safeties coach for Miami. He was a co-DC back in 2019. Then he got he headed over to Utah State as their DC and their safeties coach. Now, currently, for the last 3 seasons, he has been the Browns safety coach. So he's got a lot of experience learning under a guy like Jim Schwartz, which I really like that. Part of his whole coaching trajectory here. So he's a guy, again, wouldn't blow me away where it's like, oh, the Jets got an absolute steal at DC, but he would be another solid option. I would dive into more names here in just a second, but we got a sweet deal going on for you guys. And this Jets long sleeve is over 50% off right now, so take advantage of this deal. I think this has a sweet look to it. We got that link for you guys in the comment section and description of today's show. Just click the link, chatsports.com/Jets long sleeve. It'll be in the comment section and description of today's show. All right, let's talk about another NFC North guy here, DeMarcus Covington, currently the defensive line coach for the Green Bay Packers. Now, I'm assuming the Packers are going to interview him to be their DC, but this guy, he's got familiarity in the division. He was with the Patriots for a very, very long time before he went over to Green Bay this past season with Jeff Hafley. Now, he was their coaching assistant back in 2017-18, outside linebackers coach. Then he was their defensive line coach. Then he was their DC, but then he was the Packers defensive line coach this past season. The Packers, their D-line was very solid this past year. They always get good play out of the defensive tackles. Obviously, having Micah Parsons helps that a whole lot, but he got a lot out of, some guys that, middle of the pack guys, but they played a lot better. So I would have some interest in Covington, but he would be lower on my list. And then the last guy that did interview is Chris Harris. He was the interim defensive coordinator this past season. I would be really shocked if he ended up getting this job. I think the Jets are going to go, more big fish hunting at this position. And, no slight to Chris Harris, but when he was calling the shots after Steve Wilkes got hired, especially in December, it did not go well on that side of the football there for the New York Jets. So we'll see what happens. I think it's looking like Wink Martindale right now. But if I had to go, rank them in order for me, Wink Martindale, probably the most likely. Jim Leonhard, maybe. I just don't know if he's going to want to take that job for the New York Jets. There's also some reports that the Giants could be pursuing him pretty heavily. But watch out for Daronte Jones as well for the next DC for the Jets. Now, if you guys made it to the end of today's show, appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Hit me with the Go Jets down below in the comment section. We'll keep you guys posted with it all around this DC search. So shout out to all of you guys watching this entire thing. And we'll get on out of here. As always, Go Jets.